Hey guys, carrying is being the final movie review of 2015, and this movie we're reviewing, I've reviewed a lot of movies in 2015, all but one, and I have saved this movie for last, mainly because I just really thought it was a great one to end with, and I knew that I could not do my top 10 list until I saw this movie. I knew somewhere it would crack my top 10 list. I didn't know where, I didn't know how, but I knew somewhere it would crack that top 10 list, and that alone made me wanting to put this on my top 10 list. Also, the fact that this has been getting rave reviews, I've heard amazing things about, and everything I heard about it made me extremely interested in that movie, and that is none other than The Hateful Eight. Yes, The Hateful Eight is the final movie I will be reviewing in 2015 before I put up my top 10 list. I could not wait for this movie. You guys know Quentin Tarantino is one of my favorite directors of all time. He has made some amazing films, Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, and I have seen almost every single one of his films, minus his last two. I never finished Inglourious Bastards, and I haven't even seen Django Unchained. I am eventually going to watch those. I was going to watch those before this movie, but I just didn't get the chance to. But I could not wait for The Hateful Eight. I mean, just the fact the new Tarantino movie comes out is enough for reason to check it out. But The Hateful Eight looks like an amazing movie. I could not wait for it, and I heard amazing things about it. I heard it's very different from his other films, and just the effort he was putting into it. I was so interested in seeing how this movie was going to be. The fact it was filmed like an old movie, that's something that made me so interested, and I am so happy to check out The Hateful Eight because without a doubt, this is definitely without a doubt one of Tarantino's best films and one of his masterpieces that he has made. The Hateful Eight, I absolutely fucking loved. It is an incredible movie and will definitely be on my top 10 list. Definitely will be on there. Now let's get to the plot of The Hateful Eight, because the plot of this movie, you have to be very vague with a lot of Tarantino movies. There's a lot that happens in the movie, but the plot you can be, detailed with. This is a movie where you have to be very vague about the plot. Basically, this movie is about eight strangers, and some of them know each other and, from personal events and just things in their life, and some of them don't, but none of them trust each other. They all, are against each other. They don't believe the things that the other says, and, they start to, after things start to happen in this cabin that they're in, while a massive blizzard is going out, they're all stuck in this, haberdashery. They're stuck in this haberdashery, and, they're trapped in this haberdashery with a door that does not work, so constantly they're cold, and all they have is a coffee pot, a bed, some chairs, nothing really, and they're all trapped in this haberdashery, and one by one, they all start to accuse each other, and they start to realize that one of them, or many of them, might not be who they say they are, and that basically is the plot of The Hateful Eight, and that is an awesome plot. I really do love the plot of this movie, and I really appreciate the fact that Tarantino was trying to do something different. This definitely is a very different movie than his other films, and I really appreciate that. There's so many things that I loved about The Hateful Eight. Where to begin, honestly? This is a movie where I don't know where to begin, because there's so many amazing things about it. Let's just get to the cast. The cast was enough of a reason for me to be interested here, because the cast is great. Everyone in this cast is fantastic, and I knew they'd be amazing. Sam Jackson in this movie. Look, I've said it a million times. Sam Jackson could give a bad performance in a movie. I'd still love it. Even Snakes on a Plane. I think he's a great guy. He's a very fun actor. He clearly just has fun with his roles, and you definitely see that here. And this honestly might be my favorite performance he's ever done as Major Marcus Warren. I absolutely loved his character. This is a guy that you don't want to mess with. He is someone that will be a leader. He's been through a lot. He has a lot of things that might not necessarily be true. You can tell that he's also been kind of hated a lot of his life and kind of shamed upon because of his race, and that's something I found very interesting, but his character was just so great. He has so many amazing monologues in this film. One that I was on the edge of my seat with. It was both hilarious, but also very shocking, and there's so many amazing things with his character. He's a great character overall. I loved everything he did in this movie, and without a doubt, Sam Jackson definitely deserves to be nominated for Best Actor at the Oscars. He was incredible in this film and really did an amazing job. Kurt Russell as well, John Ruth, I really did love his character, and I like the way that these two, they knew each other, but they didn't necessarily trust each other as much, and I like seeing that. I thought their characters were definitely very interesting. John Ruth is the hangman. He basically is the one that's going to take this woman, Daisy. He's gonna take her to hang, and he's not. He doesn't want to hear anything about it from anyone. And I love it about his character. He did a great job. He was a badass, and I really did love Kurt Russell. Jennifer Jason Leigh. This is the second movie I've seen her in. Because of Anomalisa. I just reviewed that. She was in that. I do think she was stronger in that, but here she was just awesome. I mean, what I love about Jennifer Jason Leigh is that she got completely lost into this role. I didn't see Jennifer Jason Leigh. I saw Daisy Domergue, and she really portrayed this character to perfection. She did a great job at being a badass. I mean, there's something up with her character. There's something up with her, and that she is very despicable, and just everything she did was so great, especially towards the second and third act of this movie. Oh my god, she was awesome. I loved her character. Walton Goggins was one of the ones I was most looking forward to here, mainly just because of Justified. I mean, Boyd Crowder himself is it's like post-Western. I mean, just everything in Justified is like a post-Western. That's something I love about Justified. Walton Goggins is perfectly cast in this film, but what he has to do in this movie, I've never seen him do. I mean, he was so funny in this movie. Just the way that Sheriff Chris Mannix would get so excited about things. I loved it. He has like a childlike excitement, and I thought he did a great job. There's some great chemistry between him and Sam Jackson that I don't want to spoil, but I loved his character. He was so funny, and in my opinion, definitely deserves to be nominated for Best Supporting Actor because he was great in this movie. This entire film, he was awesome, and especially when he gets things right, he was just great. I loved his character. I did see Boyd Crowder in him, but Boyd Crowder didn't have the humor that Chris Mannix had, and that's something they did very well with him. They definitely did a good job at not making him like Boyd Crowder. Demián Bichir was also really good in this movie. Tim Roth, oh my god, Tim Roth was awesome here. I think his role was definitely made for Christoph Waltz. Like, it very much seemed like a Christoph Waltz kind of role, but he did a very good job in this movie. I loved his character. Oswaldo, the English, he's kind of like the Englishman throughout the movie. It's very funny. He did a great job. Michael Madsen was great here. Bruce Dern was awesome. I loved his character. Just everyone in this movie was amazing. I think they all did a great job. Even Channing Tatum, he has like 15 to 20 minutes of this film. He still was fantastic, and I still thought he did a stellar job for what he had. Everyone in this movie was incredible. I think everyone did an amazing job, and I really loved all of their characters, and they all had great chemistry. Like, they all worked so well together. In fact, this is probably my favorite ensemble cast I've seen all year, honestly. I've said, like, oh, this movie is, but honestly, no. At the end of the day, this is by far my favorite ensemble cast of the year. They all just worked so well together. They all had great chemistry, and you can definitely tell that every single one of them just had so much fun with the role, got so into it, and they all did an amazing job because of that, and it really did show there. Now, the directing here by Quentin Tarantino, like I said, I really do appreciate the fact that he's trying to do something different, and he really did do something different here. I mean, something I love about Quentin Tarantino is just how genre-free his films are. You can't really pick a genre for this movie. It's hilarious at points, and then it's really sad at points, and then it's really shocking, and then it's this mystery, and then it's a western. It really is everything, and I loved it about his directing. His tone for this film was great, but one of the things I really respected about his directing for this movie is how much he tried to make this like an old western. I mean, yeah, they're saying things like fuck and shit, things you wouldn't hear in a western, but essentially this is like a classic western just without censors. That's exactly what this is. If picture a movie was made in 1960s where they could swear and there could be blood everywhere. That's basically this movie. I mean, if you were to tell me this was a western that was banned, I would believe you because this very much felt like a classic western. They did that very well, and I definitely really like that. And I also like that he didn't try to take it too seriously. That's something I've always loved about Quentin Tarantino, is that he knows where to find the funny, he knows where to not find the funny, and he definitely did all that very, very well. I loved his directing. He did a great job with it. Amazing job on Quentin Tarantino's part. I really love that he tried to do something different. Now, the screenplay here, oh my god, I mean, what do you come to see when you see a Quentin Tarantino film? You expect great writing. That's exactly what this film gave us and more. I really feel this film, I mean, is definitely one of the reasons it's one of his best is because it's definitely one of his best screenplays. I mean, this is a screenplay where it's extremely interesting. The whole movie, you're trying to figure out who's the one that is not the one to trust. And throughout the movie, I'm like, oh, it's this person. No, it's this person. No, it's this person. And they did that very, very well. Most times I can guess these things. When it's a whodunit, most times I'm like, okay, maybe it's this person or something like that. I had multiple theories, and I really did, and I thought something was going to happen, but then they completely turn around. That's not what happened at all, and I absolutely love that. I love it. The movie wasn't at all, wasn't at all predictable. It was completely unpredictable. Everything out in this movie very much shocked me, and I really enjoyed that. Also, the entire movie, I really love that a lot of this movie is very dialogue driven. I mean, most of Quentin Tarantino's movies are, like, they're all propelled by dialogue, but this one very much is done by dialogue, and it's some incredible dialogue. The monologues given, the depth given to these characters, they're all fleshed out so, so well. It was such an interesting screenplay. It never got boring for me, and I found everything to be so, so interesting. And like other films, this one does go to the past. I'm not going to say why, but it does. And that's something I really appreciate. And his screenplay was just so, so great. I loved it. It's one of his best, without a doubt. I mean, such witty dialogue. I mean, this is a trailer where I heard people were quoting the movie after the trailer came out. And I mean, we know the script was leaked. We know that. I do kind of feel like he changed some things. I don't know. I mean, if you guys have read the script, just let me know because I know the script was leaked, which is very unfortunate. But I like that Quentin Tarantino was like, you know what? Fuck it. I want to release it anyway because it was a movie he worked hard on. It was a movie that the cast worked hard on. And if he were to suddenly just cancel it, everyone would be upset. Everyone would be like, Quentin Tarantino has no soul. Quentin Tarantino is a pussy. Quentin Tarantino is the exact opposite of that. He is a fearless director in every way. And there's so many things he got away with in this movie that I can't believe he did get away with. I mean, there's so many racial slurs in this movie, but it really goes with the film. I mean, there's so many people that just don't trust Sam Jackson because of his ethnicity. And I think the movie has actually a really great message of don't judge this person based on their color. Don't judge a person based on a trait given to them. You know, the person we see, some people are very different than what we perceive them to be, and I definitely love the way that they handled that. They did that very, very well. And the Clue, I mean, a lot of people have said this movie is very much like Clue. Oh yeah, I definitely saw a lot of Clue in here, and I really enjoyed seeing that. But overall, just the screenplay was so well done, so witty, so funny, and I absolutely loved it. Also, I did not see the Roadshow version. I really did feel bad that I did because I know when the intermission happened, and what they did when the intermission's supposed to happen is so cool. It happens in chapter 4 at the very beginning. If you've seen the movie, you know what I'm talking about. But that was awesome. I love that they did that. The cinematography to this movie, holy shit. I mean, again, fearless stuff from Quentin Tarantino. The fact that he shot this on Panavision in 60 millimeter, I think is incredible. 70 millimeter. I'm so impressed by the way he did that. You know, he tried to make this look as old as possible, and it really looks incredible. I mean, with the technology we have, I really love the way the film looked. It looked incredible. The cinematography was great. And there's so many things that play a character. I mean, the cabin in this movie is a character. When when they're all feeling cold and they're all dying of they're all there like, oh, we're cold, we need to shut the door. I was getting cold. I mean, I feel like the theater got colder just from that. I know Chris Duckman said that. I'm not trying to copy off Chris Duckman. I'm just being honest. I was feeling cold. I mean, when these characters are really cold and they're like, shut the door, I was really cold as well because you feel that circumstance they're in. And the blizzard really does play a great part in this movie because you feel trapped. You feel like, oh, there's no way of getting out there. You know, you can't go outside because there's a blizzard out there, and if you go out there, you have a better chance of dying. But it's not better inside. I thought they did a great job with that. I love the way the cinematography was done. And also, this is probably one of the most well thought out mystery films I've seen in a very long time because mystery films really need to take their time, and this movie really did that. Little clues are given throughout the film that I definitely really love just through parts of the house or things that don't look right. And the way they eventually meant a lot more than they did, I really appreciate that. I thought that was very well done. I really love the detail put into these objects that they had. For example, there's something up with the chair. I'm not going to say what it is, but there's something up with the chair. There's something up with the door. The door's all fucked up. It won't close for whatever reason. There are reasons why things are like this, and I really appreciated the way they did that. I love the Western feel of this film, definitely. You definitely got that Western tone several times, and the costume design as well looked incredible. I mean, these characters look so badass. They look awesome. These are looks that I definitely feel are going to be iconic, especially Sam Jackson's look. Definitely, I feel it's going to be an iconic look. And then there are going to be women who try to look like Daisy Domergue. I mean, there are just so many iconic looks in this movie, and I love that. Amazing cinematography, definitely some of the best of the year. I absolutely loved it, and it looked like the 1800s. It really did. I don't know how they did it, but they made it look like the 1800s. Definitely, it looked incredible. Because the movie was shot on real location, but you didn't know that. Now, the score here is probably my favorite score of the year, honestly. The score is so mysterious. It's so awesome when it comes on. But what I love about it is that they don't use it throughout the entire movie. In fact, there are many points where there's no score, and they only really use it when they need to. And I love that Ennio Morricone decided to only use it when needed, because yeah, there are certain spots where it's just dialogue that's upping the tension, and they did a very good job with that, and I really appreciate the way that they handled that. I mean, this is a movie where there's tension just from a monologue or by dialogue, and I love that they only really used that score when they needed to, but when they used it, damn was it good. I love the score of this movie. I thought it was extremely well handled, and by far, in my opinion, the best score I've heard all year. I mean, I got the soundtrack on Apple Music. I can't wait to listen to it. I didn't have the overture and the intermission, unfortunately. I would have wanted the music, but the overture played in the film is very much played throughout the movie, and they did that very, very well. I really did love that. The movie also flew by so fast. Most Quentin Tarantino films, go by so fast for me, because it doesn't feel like time is passing. This is one of those films where it doesn't feel like time is passing. It just feels like you're trapped with them, and you really get lost into this world. Me especially, I definitely got lost in this world, and it didn't feel like time was passing. And that's really what makes a great movie to me. When you don't feel length, or you don't feel like there's any time that's passed, they did that very well. So when we would go to like another chapter, I'm like, already? We're already on this chapter? Like, what's going on here? And I couldn't believe the way they handled that. I love also the editing style, of course. I always love the way he divides his films into chapters. Very well handled and very well utilized in this movie. Definitely really did love that. So overall, guys, I really did love The Hateful Eight, but now I really want to talk spoilers, because this is a movie where I really want to talk about some of the big events that happened, because like I said, this movie is shocking. Honestly, it's shocking. And if you guys want to know anything that happens to Hateful Eight, do not watch the rest of this review. I'm going to spoil everything. I'm going to spoil the who, the what, the when, the why. I'm going to spoil everything. So, like I said, I didn't predict a single thing that happens in this movie. Not a single event. Nothing seemed predictable. And let me just talk about what I thought was going to happen in this movie, and then, of course, we'll talk about what actually happened. Now, when we first met John Roth, and he was like, someone here is not who they say they are, I was convinced John Ruth, I was convinced that John Ruth is the person responsible, that he is just saying this because he wants to cover himself up. That's what I thought was going on, that he was the one secretly working with Daisy, and that he was actually in cahoots with her. That's where I thought they were going to go with it. Of course, that's not where they went at all, because John Ruth is killed very quickly after, Warren kills Smithers, which I thought was a very well handled scene. Let's talk about that monologue. I mean, everyone has been talking about that amazing monologue he gives where he talks about killing Smithers' son, and when Smithers realizes that Warren basically made his son do all these things that he didn't actually want him to do, but his son was just that stupid that he actually did it, and he tortured him, and he made him do all these things. He made him suck his dick. He made him just be butt naked in the snow. I mean, these crazy things he had him do, and Smithers is realizing that he basically tortured him. It's an incredible scene, and I'm so happy he didn't kill Warren, because I really love Warren's character. But also, the fact that he killed Smithers just upped the tension so well, and completely changed the entire movie. I was shocked when that happened. I was like, holy shit, I can't believe that happened. And then, of course, the coffee pot comes in. The coffee pot, where Domergue, sees someone with a coffee pot. We don't know who it is that's pouring the coffee pot, but we know that there's someone that did it. And then, of course, when Chris was about to drink, I was like, please don't kill Chris. Walton Goggins is like one of my favorite characters in this movie. Please, everyone I've loved in this movie. But when when John Ruth died, I was shocked. I was like, holy shit, they actually killed him, because I thought he was one of the central characters of the film. And yes, he is, but they actually had the balls to kill him off. And sure, we've seen major characters die in like Pulp Fiction and things like that. But if you take a look at Pulp Fiction, characters die in Pulp Fiction, but they're around for the rest, but they're still around in the rest of the movie because that movie is told completely in reverse order. This movie isn't. It is told nonlinear order in chapter 5, but other than that, it is told in a completely cohesive order, and I really like the way that they did that. I thought that was very well done, and that was the perfect time for them to flashback as to what's going on, because when Warren started interrogating everyone, that is when I was like, okay, this is awesome. I mean, when he was interrogating the three, and he's like, you step back or you're gonna get a bullet, not a question, a bullet. I mean, we saw that line in the trailer, and it works so well here. And when Warren got shot, I was freaking out, and then Chris got shot. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I love that they showed everything that happened, and we realized that pretty much everyone, Oswaldo, Gage, and Bob were all working with Domergue. And I thought that was an incredible twist. And the fact that Jody, Channing Tatum's character, was the leader of this gang, that we don't know if it's real or not, because of course Domergue says, oh, there's a gang coming after you. And we don't know if she's saying this, that it's true, or that she's just saying this so that way they'll release her and that they won't kill her. But Jody Domergue, Channing Tatum, damn was he badass. I mean, he was awesome in this movie, and I was very worried that he was just going to be a throwaway character, but no, he was one of the most important parts of this film, because he's really the thing that started the chain reaction here. I mean, he was waiting in that basement that entire time for John Ruth, but Domergue already handled it. Domergue let him die. Domergue didn't know that Jody was in the basement. She had no idea about that. And I'm pretty sure that maybe they planned this out. I'm not really sure. And I like that we never find out why John Ruth was going to take Domergue away. That it was simply just for money, things like that. We don't really know why he was going to do this, what the crime was that she committed. I like that we never really learned. Like, we know it was a murder, but again, we don't know if that's true or not. We don't know if John Ruth was simply just saying that because he didn't want to admit that he was just taking her for money. And I found that to be very, very interesting, and I really love finding all that out. So the killing, and then we realized that Minnie was dead, things like that. And then the door not working didn't seem like a big deal, but then we realized that there was that huge massacre, the door was shot. I mean, that was very well done, and it very much reminded me of Fargo. This entire movie honestly reminded me of Fargo, in the sense that there are things that are happening that are serious, but they're not taking it too seriously, and I like that they did that. And then the final scene in this movie is truly awesome. I mean, them having Domergue, Warren, and Chris as the last three alive, I thought was a great choice. And I knew that Oswaldo was gonna die. I knew that Gage was gonna die. I knew that Bob was gonna die. I knew that they were not gonna let them live. And I love that the entire movie, Chris was on to Joe Gage. I thought that was awesome that we saw that. And when he said, I was one that poisoned the coffee, and he's freaking out, acting like a little boy, I mean, it was so funny. I love the way they handled that. Very funny stuff there. I also love seeing Quentin Tarantino as that narrator that came in several times in the film. Really kept us up to speed on what's going on, and while it wasn't necessarily needed, really went with that old feel of the film and really felt like this is something big, like something big is happening. They really did that very well. I really love that. And then the ending of the movie where, Warren shows Chris that, I was happy that Chris didn't take the deal. I was happy that Chris didn't fall for Domergue's tricks. I was thinking he was going to, but no, he was a badass. They hanged her like John Ruth was going to, because they wanted to do what John Ruth was going to do. And they basically, I love that he says, as my final and first act as sheriff, I sentence you to death. And that was awesome when she died. I love the way that she just died, like staring at them evilly. I thought that was pretty funny. But then Warren and Chris, they know they're gonna die. Warren's had his dick shot off, which was pretty funny, I have to say. But he's also been very badly injured. And then Chris, he's been very badly shot in the leg. They know they're both going to die. And, Chris has Warren's letter just to show the camaraderie between these two men. I think that really is what that was trying to show, which I really love seeing. I thought that was the perfect ending. I really love the way it ended. And I absolutely loved that ending. One of the best endings of the year, without a doubt. Absolutely loved it. So overall, guys, I loved The Hateful Eight. I mean, damn, was this a great movie. By far, one of my favorite Quentin Tarantino movies. It's probably right below Pulp Fiction, honestly. If I had to rate them, probably Pulp Fiction, Hateful Eight, Kill Bill, Reservoir Dogs. It's very hard to rate Quentin Tarantino movies. They're all so great. I just know that Jackie Brown is the lowest one. Jackie Brown I never really loved. You guys know, if you saw my review, I never really got into Jackie Brown. I mean, Sam Jackson was awesome, but I never really loved Jackie Brown. But The Hateful Eight is definitely one of his best films, without a doubt. I loved every minute of The Hateful Eight. It has an amazing cast, and definitely deserves a lot of Oscars. Honestly, I'd be fine if Sam Jackson, Walton Goggins, and Jennifer Jason Leigh get nominated. If they were just them, I'd be fine with that. But the entire cast, I mean, best ensemble, definitely. I know the SAG Awards came out. I don't know if they were nominated. I know that they do best ensemble cast. The Hateful Eight is the best ensemble cast I have seen all year, without a doubt, because every character was great. Everything was very well handled, and I absolutely love that. It was genuinely shocking. It was hilarious. I mean, there were so many funny lines said throughout the film. I absolutely love that. It had an amazing cast, an amazing score, really gave me that old cinematic feel that I don't really get anymore, and I really love that they did that here. And without a doubt, of course, when you have The Hateful Eight, a 5 out of 5 or an A+. I absolutely love this movie, and definitely let me know what you guys thought of it if you've seen it. And that is it, guys. That is the final movie of 2015. My next video will be for my top 15. I'm going to explain why I'm doing a top 15. I was meant to do a top 10, but I'll talk about why I'm doing a top 15 when we get there in my next video. But please, if you haven't seen this movie, I hope you didn't watch spoilers, because, well, you just spoiled the entire movie for yourself. You're an idiot if you did. But if you have seen this movie, let me know what you thought of it. Where would you rank it in Quentin Tarantino? Where would you rank it? Do you think it's his best? Do you think it's his worst? I don't think it's definitely one of his best, without a doubt. Definitely is in the top three. I definitely think it's in the top three. But again, I haven't seen Glorious Bastards or Django Unchained. Most people saying Glorious Bastards is the best, which it's fine what I've seen. It's not my favorite. I definitely will say that. I don't know, maybe it's just not for me, but I can't get into it as much as the other ones. But this one I really got into. I really loved. I loved every minute of it. I thought it was an incredible film. What a great way to end 2015 films, definitely. Also, a great theater experience. I love my theater experience. I thought the entire crowd was great. Everyone did a great job with staying quiet and things like that, and I was laughing throughout the entire movie. And I really did get into it, I have to say, as well. Like, the whole movie, I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. Oh, I was connecting the dots so well. It was really like a puzzle. I really love that. But over, guys, let me know what you guys saw Hateful Eight if you have seen it, and I will see you guys next year, which will be for my top 15 movies of the year. Definitely look forward to that, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.